Hello, hello, GM, everyone. Welcome to Let's Ride this week on the BMX DeFi account. Super excited to dive in today. We have a very stacked lineup, probably one of the most stacked lineups we've had for a live stream so far. Excited today to dive into our agenda. We're going to be featuring Mark from the Morpho team, and we're also bringing on Dell from Peapods Finance. So without further ado, I do want to dive in and pass it off to Deez to, mention anything on the agenda or cover any topics you want to share before we dive in.
Yeah, testing, mic check, all good here.
You sound great.
Sweet.
Yep.
Sweet. Just got a new mic, so hopefully we a little bit crisper for old Beethoven here. But nothing we talk about today is financial advice. Of course, do your own research. All of it is educational purposes. But super excited. We have integrations with Morpho live. So just right off the bat, we've got a nice vault that's incentivized for WBLT on Morpho, and then Peapods. Maybe some alpha shared. We've had integration with Peapods already, but everyone is building at light speed. So there is nobody that's just riding on their laurels here. But excited to hop in.
Absolutely. Well, I see some folks dropping comments. Thea says, you sound richer, Deez.
It's the generations of experience.
Awesome. Well, very excited today. We have a very special guest. We have Mark from the BD team at Morpho. And Mark, I have quite a few questions for you. I know you can't stay on for the whole stream, so we'll just go ahead and get started. Awesome. So I'm curious, Mark, to hear, a little bit more about yourself, who you are, how you got into crypto, and what made you join the Morpho team.
Well, first, thank you for having me on the stream today. This is Deez and I have been kind of friends within crypto for a while, and so when he sent me the DM to hop on the stream today, I knew I had to accept. But yeah, so a little bit about myself. I've been in crypto for the past 4 years. I started my crypto journey working at Coinbase. This was when just kind of the bull market started, and I was on their institutional team, really helping the institutions get a handle on crypto and understand the landscape a little bit better. And then, wanted something more. And so from there, I just jumped down the rabbit hole. So most recently, prior to Morpho, I was at Optimism, helping scale the super chain. And then from there, I knew that DeFi was my calling. And so it just, coincidence would have it that Morpho was hiring someone on the BD team. And I think that everything that Morpho has done was super exciting. And so I had to join the team. So that's a little bit about my journey into Morpho and how I got here.
Wow. I mean, no big deal. Formerly Coinbase, working on all these incredible things. Your background is very impressive, Mark. That's awesome. I really feel like, Morpho's very lucky to have you on the team, given your experience. And I know we have limited time here, so I'm curious if you're able to give an overview of Morpho and share with our viewers what Morpho is.
Yeah, so it is, it's a DeFi protocol. It's a lend and borrow protocol, right? But what makes Morpho really different is one, that it's built in a way that's extremely modular. And then secondly, it's built in a way that's very permissionless, right? And so what I mean by modular is that on the supply side, lenders supply to ERC 4626 vaults rather than, lending within a protocol like Aave where you receive a receipt token. But what makes really Morpho interesting is actually on the borrow side, where we have these individual isolated borrow markets. And so what we're able to do with these individual isolated borrow markets is that we're actually able to create individual kind of risk profiles per vault, right? And so the difference of, let's say you're supplying USDC on a lending protocol like Aave, you're exposed to the entire risk spectrum of all the collateral assets supported on that lending protocol. Whereas within Morpho, let's say you deposit USDC onto one of our prime markets that has only exposure to the individual borrow markets with wrap Bitcoin, wrap stake ETH, or ETH as a collateral asset. Those are just the three assets that you're going to have, exposure and risk exposure to. And so from that perspective, it caters to, it caters to the understanding that like there's many different types of lenders in this space, and there's many just different types of users that have different risk profiles. So that's one of the main differences between how we've structured Morpho and the standard kind of borrow lend protocol. And then the second thing I touch on is that how Morpho is extremely permissionless. So anyone can create a vault, anyone can create a market, and so what we kind of are leaning into is this idea that we see that the crypto industry moves very, very quickly. There's many new use cases that we want to cater to. And so rather than having a governance process dictate the collateral assets supported, the loan assets supported, we're gonna have a very open structure where anyone can create a market, anyone can create a vault, and it's really just up to what we call these risk curators or these vault curators like Stakehouse or Gauntlet to decide which markets they supply the liquidity to. So I've gone over a lot there, but I think the take-home message here is that we've created something that's extremely flexible and it's basically an infrastructure for any team to build on top of. Let's say they want to create a super safe vault that only has exposure to WBTC, you can create exactly that. Let's say you have a new collateral asset that's super interesting that you want users to borrow USDC against, you can create exactly that on Morpho. So that's a little bit about our design. And yeah, we're right now about 5 billion in deposits. So it seems to be gaining traction. And finally, we are quickly going cross-chain. So now we're on Ethereum mainnet, Base, Polygon, Optimism, and now most recently Unichain on our front end, and then Hyperliquid and also WorldChain are also using Morpho contracts to support their use cases on their chains. So yeah, super exciting times.
Wow, this is all really incredible. Deez, I'm not sure if you have anything you want to jump in and share or ask before we continue on the agenda here.
No, that's great. And I think we touched on kind of the difference between Morpho and the curators and the permissionlessness versus your more generalized markets, like an Aave. So I think that's really important for people who come in, because I think as hype and attention comes back to the markets, we still have to be very aware that we have a lot of people who were maybe DeFi curious 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We have to constantly keep re-educating and letting them know that these different tailored products exist. So I think that's a really good explanation.
Awesome. And I think that actually answered my next question, how Morpho fits into the broader landscape of different borrowing and lending markets, and what differentiates them. So my next question for you, actually, for both of you, is could you both take a moment to just give an overview of the current Morpho and BMX campaign happening?
Yeah, I can hop in. So the vault that we have active is a WBLT USDC market. It's got about 400,000 in there in total market size and 200K in liquidity available. But there's campaigns active on it. So there's BMX being incentivized to the vault. So people are getting subsidized to take a loan out, take a USDC loan out against their WBLT. And I won't go into it too much, but if WBLT does have some fancy mechanics with auto fee processing. Basically, it's a Yearn architectured vault, so it taps into a lot of different fee sources from different BMX products, like Base Media X, the Onchain Media Marketplace, the 2 perpetual products. So there's Freestyle and Classic, so fees from those services also flow to the vault, and then WBLT's real secret power is, or superpower, I should say, is the aggregator support. So when swaps are happening anywhere on Base, anything that kind of swaps through those assets that are in the WBLT, things like USDC, Coinbase, BTC, and Ethereum. Those fees, sometimes those aggregators will route those swaps through the WBLT. And when they do that, that collects fees. So all these fees kind of add up and auto compound in the WBLT. So if you're using an asset like this as collateral, there is a potential in crabbing markets and certain situations that it is actually paying itself off or lowering or making the loan to value ratio much healthier. So that's a plug there, but we have tons of educational material on WBLT, things like that. But Morpho just allows it's a beautiful place to make it more capital efficient. So if people are holding onto their WBLT and want those assets, the underlying or just the fee accrual mechanics, Morpho is a great place to park that, take some USDC out, maybe go farm some of these incredible yields across the space. This is actually a great 1-2 little punch here because we'll have Peapods on. I mean, they're smashing with their single site USDC yields right now. But the composability across DeFi is just going nuts right now. I think we almost have too many options, too many insane places to park our Legos.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I'd like to toss it back to Mark. What do you think, like, as far as Morpho integration? What are you excited about? Any like consumer facing products? Anything on the institutional end? Like, what is Morpho seeing that makes these pieces, I guess, more accessible or more composable or anything in there?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think exactly what we were just talking about with WBLT, right? Like, we're able to move super quickly to new use cases. And, that's something that I'm really excited about. And within my role, I just try to find these unique use cases that Morpho can support and allow people to build these products on top of our infrastructure. So starting with that, right, I think one area that I'm seeing a lot of growth in is within the wallet space, actually, right?
Totally.
Wallets are themselves kind of now adding, new additional products and features. And so what makes Morpho great, right, is Morpho at the core of the protocol, it's an immutable protocol that's only 650 lines of code, right? And so this gives developers a bunch of kind of security and kind of like can give them some peace of mind that they're building on an infrastructure that if we change one line of code, it's not going to entirely like break the product, right? And so what we started seeing is that wallets like Trust Wallet and Ledger and Safe Wallet have all decided to build lending products inside their wallet experience on top of Morpho. And so we're really just being able to export the yield that Morpho is able to offer to new and interesting front ends. So that's something that I'm really excited seeing, and I think that fits more into the consumer side of things. And then from the institutional side, what we're starting to see is a lot of these tokenized funds starting to be used as collateral on Morpho. The most like recent use case of this is the ACRED USDC market on Morpho. So right now, if you are an LP in Apollo, that Apollo has basically tokenized ACRED as, which is one of their money market funds, and you can bring that onto Morpho and borrow USDC against it. So, now we're actually offering net new use cases for TradFi to take advantage of DeFi rails. So that's something I'm super excited by. And then just finally, I think what we're looking forward to as well is just like Morpho going cross-chain and trying to enable like all these net new use cases across all these chains. Like what comes to mind particularly is on WorldChain, where let's say a user is a verified human, maybe they get better rates on WorldChain on top of Morpho. And because we're just that basic layer of infrastructure, you actually can create these type of use cases. So I really think that builders are going to create a lot of exciting kind of new use cases that I can't even imagine yet. So I'm just kind of sitting back here and watching the builders build. And I've been just so kind of thrilled to see what has come so far.
Awesome. Well, Mark, I know we have some folks that are here, ready to ask questions, and I'm curious if we can kind of guide any of our viewers or listeners today on how they can get involved with Morpho. Like, what would be the first step to get started?
Yeah. So, I mean, getting involved with Morpho, I think probably can mean a lot of different things, right? So, one way to get involved is probably just to learn about the protocol and learn about Morpho. So go through our docs. Actually, one thing that's cool about our docs is that we've actually implemented AI within our docs. So you can ask like an AI agent some questions about Morpho and it can answer them for you. Then you can put your capital to work, right? So go into Morpho and see how there are multiple different vaults for each asset class. And so check out how the yield differs between, let's say our Gauntlet USDC Prime Vault versus our MEV USDC Vault, right? Both have different collateral assets, so both have a different yield profile, right? And so go check out kind of what differences there are between these vaults and the APY that you can earn. And then go onto the borrow side and check out like the range of collateral assets that we're able to support. And go check out, partnering or other lending protocols to see the difference. I think that will get you really excited about and open your eyes in terms of what we're able to allow borrowers to borrow against, and also the LTVs that you can borrow against your assets at. So that's from a very high level how you can get involved. If you're a builder, oh my gosh, go into our Discord. We have like the best DevRel team in DeFi, and they will answer any of your questions. I'll give a quick shout out to Albist. He is in our Discord, and I swear he has superhuman capabilities because he answers every single question, and I don't know how he does it. So if you have any questions, go into the Discord. Albist is going to be your best friend.
Okay, I'm grabbing that link for those of you that are in the comment section here in the live chat. I'm going to go on X and drop that for y'all, so you guys can hop in Discord. And Mark, I want to be mindful of your time here. I know we're a little bit over for the time you had today. But if you have any final closing thoughts, calls to action, or just any words of wisdom you want to share before we drop, feel free. And I know we have some folks like Kenny here. If he's ready to jump up, he might have a question for you before you jump.
Yeah, I mean, continue to watch the timeline, follow Morpho. We're about to, right now we're working on a lot of exciting developments. And so just continue to check the timeline and, always, check the rates on Morpho. And if you have any questions, you can DM me.